FAR Part 23 and FAR Part 91. Section 135.93 Autopilot Minimum Altitude for Use. FAR Part 23 and FAR Part 91, which apply mainly to small airplanes. No person may use an autopilot at an altitude above the terrain which is less than 500 feet or less than twice the maximum altitude loss specified in the approved aircraft manual or equivalent for a malfunction of the autopilot, whichever is higher.
Automatic pilot system. Each automatic pilot system must be designed so that the automatic pilot can be sufficiently overpowered. May one pilot allow control of the rotorcraft and be readily and positively disengaged by each pilot to prevent it from interfering with control of the rotorcraft.
Autopilot maintenance. Maintenance of autopilot consists of visual inspections, replacement of components, cleaning, lubrication, troubleshooting, and operational checkouts of the system. So, before engaging the autopilot for operational check, first, allow gyros to come up to speed. This normally requires from 204 minutes. And after engaging the autopilot, the following check should be done. So first, rotate the turn knob on the controller to the left. The rudder pedals and control column should move in the proper directions to indicate a left turn. The motion should be smooth and without excessive bending, jerking, or hesitation. Second, rotate the turn knob to the right and watch for the proper operation and motion of the controls. Third, rotate the pitch knob up and down and watch for the correct motion of the control column, AFT, and forward.
So I will be talking about autopilot's FAR and maintenance. First is the autopilot has a pitch stream. Check the proper motion of the control as the control column moves fore and aft. When the control column moves back, the system should apply nose up and trim vice versa. And for number 2, with the autopilot engaged, try to overpower it by grasping the controls and applying force to where it should be possible to overpower the autopilot if it is adjusted properly. And lastly, check all of the controls and switches for proper actuation and correct indications. So basically that is my 3 parts.
It may be desirable to taxi that the aircraft is in order to check out some of the operating modes. If you engage the heading hold mode and make a taxi turn to the right, the controls should show motion commanding a turn to the left. Check the autopilot disconnects switches to ensure that the autopilot disconnects rapidly and positively. There may be several ways to disconnect the autopilot, and you have to check them all. If the autopilot has a flight director, check for proper indications by the command bars in the ADI or EADI. You have to check the autopilot mode indicators in the ADI if so equipped. If the autopilot has both and flight director, they can be checked against each other as an aid in troubleshooting. The autopilot and flight director share some components while others are only used by autopilot.